Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura
Bhakta
Bhakta
Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Sri
Jaya Shri
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Jaya
Jaya
Nityananda
Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya
Jaya
Dvaita Chandra
Dvaita
Jaya
Chandra
Gaura
Jaya
Bhakta
Gaura Bhakta
Binda
Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya
Jaya
Jaya Sri
Jaya Shri
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Jaya
Jaya
Nityananda
Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya
Jaya
Dvaita
Dvaita
Chandra
Chandra
Jaya
Jaya
Gaura
Gaura
Bhakta
Bhakta
Binda
Vrinda.
श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय।
Jai
श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय।
Jai
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai
समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे
Hare Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण हरे
Krishna,
हरे
Hare Hare,
हरे राम
Hare
राम
Rama,
राम
Rama
हरे
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 2, the ecstatic manifestations of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is during the last 12 years of his earthly pastimes. So we went over, in his separation from Srimati Radharani, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his separation from Krishna, in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is feeling great ecstasy of Vipralambha, of separation, which is the highest, it is the epitome of prema, that separation, love and separation. So, what is it that the devotee experiences in that state? Uh, uh, that's what we get to see in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's uh, uh, person. So, Mahaprabhu in that separation is reciting or speaking the words of Srimati Radharani as given in the drama of Ramanandarai called Sri Jagannath Vallabha Nataka. So we are now reading the verses which are recited by Mahaprabhu, and these verses are actually the verses spoken by Srimati Radharani in Jagannath Vallabha Nataka. So Srimati Radharani is saying that um, without devotional service to Krishna, I there's no meaning, right? So I cannot even live, basically, right? So without devotional service to Krishna, these senses are a burden. So there Srimati Radharani says, what is the use of those eyes which cannot see the beautiful moon-like face of Lord Krishna, which is the reservoir of all beauty, and also from where the nectarian sound of the flute of Krishna emanates? And then glorifying talking about the ears, Srimati Radharani says those ears are like the holes of a damaged conch shell, which do not hear the um which do not hear about the pastimes or the qualities of Supreme Lord Krishna. Those ears which don't hear or which have not heard the pastimes and the qualities of Lord Krishna are like the holes of a damaged conch shell. And then in the same line, Srila Prabhupada quoted the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Canto 2, Chapter 3, text 17 to 24, various verses in the same lines. So we discussed that in detail. We won't go over the whole thing again. Again, we'll lose time. But in essence, anyone who has not served a pure devotee of the Lord, who has not bowed his head at the lotus feet or in humility in front of a devotee, anyone who has never seen the beautiful form of Krishna, his deity form, or anyone whose legs have never moved to that place where Krishna is being glorified, like that, what is the use of life of such a person? That's the point, right? The perfection of all senses is to render service to Krishna. And if you are not able to render service to Krishna, what is the use of that life? That person is as good as dead, no matter whatever else he is doing. So let's continue reading now. We'll go to the next verse. Krishnera adharamrita Krishna gunacharita Sudhasara swada vinindana Taraswada je na jane Janmiya na maila kene Serasana bheka jihva sama. The nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna and his transcendental qualities and characteristics surpass the taste of the essence of all nectar. So now we are coming to the next sense. So we've seen the eyes, the ears, now the tongue. Taste. The function of the tongue is to taste. So the nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna and his transcendental qualities and characteristics surpass the taste of the essence of all nectar. And there is no fault in tasting such nectar. If one does not taste it, he should die immediately after birth, and his tongue is to be considered no better than the tongue of a frog. So yesterday in those verses of Srimad Bhagavatam also we saw that that tongue which does not glorify Krishna is like the tongue of a frog. Why? Because it is simply inviting the death of the serpent, like that. So this verse also is saying about the tongue that what is the taste of Krishna? Of course, tasting the nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna, that's the highest form of, bhakti. So, but here Srimati Radharani herself is speaking. So, the nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna and his transcendental qualities. Yes, so you can taste the transcendental qualities of Krishna. When you glorify, you get nectar, right? From the transcendental qualities and characteristics. So when you speak about the transcendental qualities of Krishna, his characteristics of Krishna, then you're getting a great taste. And then, of course, what to speak of those who are actually tasting the nectar from the lips of Lord Krishna. That taste surpasses the taste of the essence of all nectar. So you know nectar, Amrita, is very delicious. In this material world, Amrita is considered to be very, very tasty. So see, the residents of the heavenly planets, they don't taste, foods, like the foods that we eat, of course, not Krishna Prasadam, but in this world, they don't eat anything which is not cooked in ghee. Did you know that? They don't eat food cooked in oil. They never touch it even. They only eat food which is cooked in ghee. So what I'm trying to say is that their taste is very superior. The quality of the food that they eat is very, very high compared to what we eat on the earthly planets. And their favorite drink is the nectar. So you can imagine how valuable and precious that nectar must be. And so, but if you take the essence of all nectar, okay, so nectar is very, very tasty, very, very delicious. You take the essence. What do you mean by essence? Just like you have milk. What is the essence of milk? The essence of milk is cream. And from that cream, you get ghee. That's like the ultimate essence of milk. So, Chanakya Pandit says that whatever strength you get by eating rice, so 10 times that strength you will get simply by eating the same quantity of atta. And whatever strength you get by eating atta, 10 times of that strength you will get by eating the same quantity of meat. And whatever strength you get by eating meat, 10 or 8. Okay, one of them is 8 times. So maybe the meat is 8 times, right? 8 times of atta is meat. And whatever strength you get by eating meat, 10 times of that strength you'll get by eating the same quantity of ghee. So you see, ghee is the most precious thing, the essence of milk. And you take so much of milk and you get a little bit of ghee. It's the essence. So similarly, if you took the nectar which the demigods drink, which is very, very delicious, everyone is hankering for that nectar. They did the Samudra Manthan Leela, we read in the 8th canto, to get that nectar. If you take the essence of that nectar, just like the essence of milk is cream and then ghee, like that, if you take the essence of that nectar, then the taste, you can imagine how extremely delicious that essence must be. But even the essence of all nectar cannot compare to the taste of Krishna's lips, to the taste of Krishna's qualities, and to the taste of Krishna's characteristics. So there is no fault in tasting such nectar. Okay. So because this is the supermost, there cannot be any fault in tasting this nectar. Now, if this nectar is available to you, and if you're not drinking this nectar, this is supermost, most valuable, most costly, right? It's the best nectar. If it's available and if you're not drinking, then that tongue which does not drink this nectar. So how do we drink that nectar? Glorifying Krishna's qualities, Krishna's characteristics, that is drinking nectar. Any tongue which doesn't drink that nectar, that tongue is like the tongue of a frog. That's what Srimati Radharani is saying. Right? If one does not taste it, he should die immediately after birth. You just die. Very, very heavy statement. If one does not taste it, he should die immediately after birth. What is the value of his life? Why should he even live after taking birth if he doesn't get an opportunity to taste the nectar of Krishna's transcendental qualities, characteristics? And his tongue is to be considered no better than the tongue of a frog. That means same thing. What does the tongue of a frog do? It croaks, and the result of that croaking is it is inviting its death. Mriga Mada Nilotpala Milane Jay Parimala. Sorry, not like that. Mriga Mada Nilotpala Milane Jay Parimala Jay Hare Tara Garva Mana Hena Krishna Anga Gandha Jaranahi Se Sambandha Se Nasa Bhastrara Samana. So we are going to the next sense. We have seen the eyes, the ears, and the tongue. One is the nose. One's nostrils are no better than the bellows of a blacksmith if one has no smell, if one has not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body. So we discussed that yesterday. So nostrils, just like lungs, the nostrils also, when you breathe, they go like that, right? So they go like they dilate and they inflate and they dilate. They inflate and they dilate. So the blacksmith's bellows also go like that, inflate and dilate. Now, what is the difference? You are actually a living being. You have consciousness, you have life, and as long as there is life, then you are breathing. Blacksmith's bellow does not have any life. It does not have any life. It's just a machine. but that is also inflating and dilating. If one's nostrils, let me read the translation first. One's nostrils are no better than the bellows of a blacksmith if one has not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body, which is like the aroma of musk combined with that of the bluish lotus flower. Indeed, such combinations are actually defeated by the aroma of Krishna's body. So, again, anyone who has not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body, anyone who has not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body, what is the use of his nostrils? Right? They're no better than the bellows of a blacksmith. They're simply machines that are dilating and inflating. There is no value to such nose. You may say, oh, I'm smelling so many fragrances, I'm breathing and it is sustaining my life. What is the value of all this if you have not smelled with those nostrils, if you have not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body? Then what is the use of such nostrils? They are as good as dead bellows of a blacksmith. Then what is the fragrance of Krishna compared to the fragrance of Krishna's body is compared to, again, the aroma of musk and the aroma of a bluish lotus flower. So you see, just like for the taste, it was compared to the essence of all nectar. So the best that can be found in this material world. So the aroma of musk, we use musk uh, oils when we are bathing the deities in the morning. Very, very fragrant musk. So if you take and you know, we don't even know if we're getting the original, but imagine getting the original musk fragrance, and that is combined with blue lotus. Now, blue lotuses are themselves rare, and then the fragrance, if somebody is able to extract the fragrance of the blue lotus, now you combine the fragrance of the blue lotus with the fragrance of musk, that is unimaginable, right? It's very, very heavenly. It's amazing fragrance. So you can compare the fragrance of Krishna's body to that. But actually, Krishna's bodily fragrance is far superior to this also. That means his fragrance is far better than the best we have in this material world. So when you have that, and if anyone has not smelled it, what's the use of his life? What's the life? So his nostrils are as good as uh, the bellows of the blacksmith. Now the next one. कृष्णकर पदतल कोटिचंद्र सुशीतल तारस्पर्श जैन स्पर्शमणि तारस्पर्श नाही जारा से जाऊ छार खारा सेवपु लौह समजानी. Next is the sense of touch. The palms of Krishna's hands and the soles of his feet are so cool. The palms of Krishna's hands and the soles of Krishna's feet are so cool and pleasant that they can be compared only to the light of millions of moons, Koti Chandra, millions and millions of moons. The coolness, you know, in the night when there is full moon, we just had Rasa Purnima a couple of days ago. In the full moon night, there is you see, the sun is also giving us light and the moon is also giving light. But the difference between the sunlight and the moonlight is the sunlight is very harsh. Yes, it's hot. It can burn your skin. That is why it is said at the time of annihilation, it is like millions of suns, thousands and millions of suns rising at the same time. And the combined heat of all these suns, all so much heat and light, it just burns the entire universe, burns everything. That's why no life can exist. So it is like that for 100 years, continuously, extreme heat, as if thousands of suns are burning. At the same time. They're out at the same time. Even one sun In summertime, we know how hot it gets. Now the moon's light is just different. The moon is also giving light, but that light is very, very cooling. It's very cool on the moon planet. There is light, but it's very, very pleasant. It's cool, the moonlight. So now, if you have millions of moons, one moon in the night, the poets write so many songs and poetry describing the moon, because the moon is very, very pleasant. Even Krishna's beautiful face just now we read is compared to the moon, because the moon is so cooling, so pleasant, so attractive. Now Krishna's palms and soles, the feeling, the touch of Krishna's palms and soles is like the coolness, the pleasing sensation that you get from millions of moons. The palms of Krishna's feet and the soles of his feet are so cool and pleasant that they can be compared only to the light of millions of moons. One who has touched such hands and feet has indeed tasted the effects of touchstone. We don't have any experience of touchstone. We don't have, but there is a touchstone. So anyone who has touched the soft, pleasant, cool hands, palms, the hands of Krishna and his feet has actually tasted the effects of touchstone. If one has not touched them, his life is spoiled and his body is like iron. That means there is no value to his life. He is a dead person. Iron is what? It's matter, hard matter. It has no feelings, it has no, emotions, nothing. So anyone who has not touched the lotus feet and the lotus hands, lotus palms of Krishna, his life is spoiled and his body is just like iron. About Krishna's lotus feet and even Lord Ramchandra's lotus feet. When Lord Ramchandra was going to the forest, or when his father was asked, when Dashrath Maharaj asked, on behalf of Dashrath Maharaj, when Kaikeyi asked Lord Ramchandra, she informed him that he should go to the forest. Lord Ramchandra went to Sita Devi to inform him that he is leaving. So Sita Devi wanted to go with Lord Ramchandra. Why? Because she said, when you walk in the forest, your soft soles of your feet, they are so soft that when you keep your feet on the forest, they'll, what's the word to say? When like little babies, when it is very soft, when you just push or do something, it just becomes very.
They will get cracked, right, Mataji?
Not
Feet
cracked.
cracks.
In Telugu they say kandipodam. Kandipodam means it becomes like red and
Tawny, like
like that. Because
yes.
it's so delicate, so soft. So Sita Devi says, I will keep my palms so that you can keep your feet on that, like that. You know how delicate is Sita Devi now, but that is the Lord Ramchandra's lotus feet. Similarly, yes, Mataji, Aditi Lata Mataji.
Mataji, the silent part. In Krishna's pastime also, because
Yeah.
Krishna was not wearing shoes, the calves, they actually ground the dust of the rocks of Vrindavan to make it smooth so that it doesn't hurt Krishna's feet.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Yes, I was going to say another one, that in the gopis' prayers they say that Krishna's feet are so soft and delicate, and so they want to keep Krishna's feet on the softest parts of their body, so that Krishna's feet won't get hurt, like that, right? So, his feet and his palms are really very, very delicate. So anyone who has touched it, they know how cooling, how soft and how pleasant those lotus feet and lotus palms are. And anyone who
Like
has not
butter, like, right, Mataji? Like
yes,
butter
yes,
is
like butter, you can say. So anyone who has not touched has, his life is spoiled. His life is like, like an iron, it is said. Okay, I'm sorry, his body is like iron. Text 35. Kori eta vilapana prabhu sachi nandana ughadiya hridayera shoka dainya nirveda vishade hridayera avasade punarapi pode eka shloka. So Mahaprabhu is reciting some verses and then he's just going into great grief, great separation, right? Like sighing. And again he would read some more verses. So lamenting in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the doors of grief within his heart. Morose, humble, and disappointed, he recited a verse again and again with a despondent heart. Like this, Mahaprabhu would go on and on and on in his great separation from Krishna. Not for a single moment was he peaceful. He was in great, he was getting tormented day and night at every moment, lamenting in this way. And then the only relief was he would recite these verses and then again he would in great grief. So again and again it is said he opened the doors of grief, right? So it's like a flood of grief just coming out of him. Morose, humble, and disappointed, he recited a verse again and again with a despondent heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the word dainya, humility, is explained as follows. When unhappiness, fearfulness, and the sense of having offended combine. What is dainya? When unhappiness, fearfulness, and the sense of being offended are combined, one feels condemned, right? You feel condemned, rejected, and this is the feeling. Unhappiness, fearfulness, and being offended. This sense of condemnation is described as deenata, humility. When one is subjected to such humility, there are not enough words in English to express the feelings, all feelings. But in Sanskrit there are, and there is a variation between one word and the other. But you just use the one word for all these things in English because you don't have, so many words. That's why it is said when you learn Sanskrit, I have not learned Sanskrit, but I'm saying I have heard that when you learn the word Sanskrit, even your your not just knowledge, but the scope, right? It becomes so broadened. You become, yeah, I don't know how to say it. Not just know, yeah, you can say and you can understand so much. There's so much variety in detail because of the language. It tells you, just talking about friend, right? In English, there's one word friend, but in Sanskrit, there are so many details with variations. Suhrid is also a friend, Mitra is also a friend, Bandhu is also a friend, right? Like this, you have so many, not, I'm just giving you two or three. There's like so many, a dozens maybe, just a few. Just when you read Bhagavad Gita, you will see, right? So many names are Sakha is one, and each one is not exactly the same as the other. There's a difference. There's a difference in, one is a formal and one is intimate. The level of intimacy varies in these names. But when you say it in English, you just say friend. So then that means you won't be able to understand the feeling completely. You won't be able to capture what exactly is the emotion with just that one friend. You'll have a broader general idea, but the exact feeling you won't get. So here also, dainyata, the word dainyata is being explained. So dainya, dinata means it's translated as humility. But what exactly is that? See, in the description you're seeing unhappiness, fearfulness, and a sense of being offended. When they are combined, it is called dinata. And you feel completely condemned. And this sense of condemnation is described as dinata or humility. When one is subjected to such humility, he feels physically inactive. He apologizes, and his consciousness is disturbed. So you may have this experience, you may have had some experience like this where you're feeling physically inactive and becoming apologetic and also consciousness being disturbed, but you may not know what is the word to use there, right? His mind is also restless and many other symptoms are visible. The word nirveda, and what to speak of when these emotions are in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What we experience in this world is a perverted reflection. It's a perverted reflection. The real feelings you will only experience in relation to the Supreme Lord, because He is the Ashraya, we are the Ashrita. So, the word nirveda is also explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One may feel unhappiness and separation, and as well as jealousy and lamentation. Unhappiness, separation, jealousy, and lamentation due to not discharging one's duties. The despondency that results is called nirveda. Okay? Because of unhappiness and separation, jealousy and lamentation, you're not able to perform your duties, and the despondency you're experiencing because of not being able to perform your duties as a result of the above feelings is called nirveda. When one is captured by this despondency, thoughts, tears, loss of bodily luster, humility, and heavy breathing result. Just this much description, will give us an idea of how high these emotions are in bhakti. I am having a difficulty in even just remembering and trying to understand what it is. What to speak of someone going through this? When one is captured by this despondency, thoughts, tears, loss of bodily luster, humility, and heavy breathing result. Vishada is also explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. When one fails to achieve his desired goal of life and repents for all his offenses, there is a state of regret called Vishada. The symptoms of avasada are also explained. One hankers to revive his original condition and inquires how to do so. There are also deep thought, heavy breathing, crying, and lamentation, as well as a changing of the bodily color and drying up of the tongue. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 33 such destructive symptoms are mentioned. They are expressed in words, in the eyebrows, and in the eyes. These symptoms are called Vyabhichari Bhava, destructive ecstasy. If they continue, they are sometimes called Sanchari or continued ecstasy. So these are called Anubhav, like you have. So there is bhava. As we progress in bhakti, there is sadhu sanga, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhava, and prema. So when you come to bhava stage, you will find some satviki bhava. Satviki bhava means these are steady bhavas, right? Emotions. But these emotions are not on the bodily or mental platform. Now we are in the bodily platform and mental platform. These emotions are not on bodily and mental platform. When you enter into bhava stage, you're actually experiencing, your spiritual body is in the budding stage of development. Experiencing anything on this with this body, but it is still the budding stage, it's the beginning stage. So there you will experience what is called satviki bhava. Satvika bhavas means these are steady, right? But as you go higher to prema, there you will experience more emotions. Anubhava, Vibhava, Sanchari Bhava, Vyabhichari Bhava, like that. So that is what is being explained. So this is actually expressed, it comes either in the form of uh, externally, it is visible, like crying, laughing, like that. And of course, emotions also. So these are all actually, that is why all the grief that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is experiencing, this is the highest ecstasy. It is in the stages of prema. And that too, what Mahaprabhu is experiencing. So within prema also, there are 7 stages. When one is still in this world, in this body, of course, when you come to bhava, as I said already, your spiritual body is developing, but you're still, you didn't get parshada deha. Parshada deha means, at one point you'll drop this, even though your body is not material anymore, it is spiritualized. So, but this is not the body in which you perform your pastimes in the spiritual world. You get another body, a spiritual body. So that body begins developing on the soul, right? Even while here in this body, when you come to bhava stage, it starts building, and when you come to prema stage, it's like fully blossomed, body. But still, you are here. Okay, this is still there. So in prema, there are 7 stages. First 2 stages or something can still be experienced while you are here in this world. And what you're experiencing with your spiritual body only, but still externally you have this external body also. And this body is spiritualized, by the way. It doesn't have any material elements because of the performance of devotional service. But when one goes to higher and higher levels of prema, the ecstasies, the point is the ecstasies that the devotee experiences in those stages of prema cannot be contained in this body. So they have to shed, they have to leave this, and they have to go. Now, of these 7 levels, like you have, mana, right, raga, anuraga, pranaya, bhava, mahabhava, like that, different stages of prema are there. The topmost is mahabhava. There is bhava in prema. That's different bhava than the different stages, right? You have bhava, right? Asakti, bhava, prema. This bhava is different. Within prema, there is another bhava. Top, very top, just before the top is bhava, and after bhava is mahabhava. This mahabhava is only experienced by Srimati Radharani. It only shows the intensity of prema, love that a devotee has. The highest amount of love that anyone can have, right? Only Srimati Radharani has that, the highest amount of love for Krishna. That is why she is the only proprietor of that Mahabhava, the ecstasies that one feels because of that love. And that Mahabhava is now being experienced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is the condition of a person who has this Mahabhava? What is the condition that we are seeing and how he feels? So it feels like they're completely, despondent and, condemned. And, isn't it? It looks like they're suffering so much, but that is actually the highest ecstasy. We cannot understand because we don't have any experience of that. But that is the highest form of ecstasy. So, yeah, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 33 such destructive symptoms. So this Vyabhichari Bhava, Sanchari Bhava, these are all experienced in the stage of Prema. That's what I'm saying. And in Prema also, what is being experienced by Mahaprabhu is the highest stage. So, 33 destructive symptoms are mentioned. They are expressed in words, in the eyebrows, and in the eyes. So, how are these bhavas coming out? Externally, they become visible. You see that in the eyebrows, in the eyes, and in the words. These symptoms are called Vyabhichari Bhava, destructive ecstasy, and if they continue, they are sometimes called Sanchari bhava or continued ecstasy. So we can stop here. We will continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna.